Cool. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good evening, wherever you are from. Let us know if you can hear us okay. We think the volume's good, but we are in a new place right now, so please let us know in the comments.
If you can let us know in the chat box if you can hear our volume. We'll be starting soon. Can you hear us? So first we'll be sharing a few updates and some answers to questions we received before, and then we'll go through the questions that we get right now in the chat box. And this video will be recorded and on our KENSHOQUEST channel afterwards. So if you're not able to stick around all the way to the end, you can watch the replay later.
And
okay, volume's good. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, the video will be recorded and on our channel afterwards.
All right, are you ready to get going here?
So if you're new here, welcome to KENSHOQUEST. We share tips to help you plan an amazing trip to Japan. We've been traveling to Japan together multiple times over the past 20 years, and recently we've been taking our family of 5 each year to Japan. So we like to share what we've learned to help make it a smoother, more enjoyable experience for you.
Yep. And we're here right now. It's actually quite cold and
in Tokyo, Japan.
Quite
we're
cold.
Freezing.
We come from the tropics, so this is very cold for us, but maybe not for a lot of you. Today it's about 7 degrees Celsius. I think that's, I'm not sure, maybe low 40s in Fahrenheit. But it's very clear and we can see Mount Fuji outside. I wish I could show it to you guys, but we're inside in the cold right now. All right, let's get started here. We're going to go through some typical, just some news right now to get you caught up, and then we'll go ahead and answer your questions. All right, so the first thing, is this in the way? This might be in the way. I don't know if that's in the way or not.
Let us know. Sometimes the little video of us blocks our graphics on the screen. So if ever you can't see the graphic that we're trying to show you, just let us know in the chat. Ready?
Yeah, something weird's going on.
Just a second.
Sorry, we're having
a
technical difficulty here. Just 1 second, sorry.
We do see a lot of questions coming in. This is going to take us a while to get through all of these today.
All right. Okay. So, I went too far.
So first of all, if you are new here and you're just starting to plan your trip to Japan, we have tons of videos on KENSHOQUEST to help you. A great place where you can start is our playlist that's called Start Here, How to Plan a Trip to Japan. So we have a very first overview video of how to start planning your trip, and then the rest of that playlist breaks down other videos as well, as far as finding accommodations, choosing whether you want to use a transportation pass, buying tickets for Shinkansen trains. I've organized it all into that playlist called Start Here. So if you are new to our channel, start by watching those videos in the Start Here playlist, and that will give you a really solid basis to start from.
Okay. All right. Now, let's just, why does it keep doing that?
Sorry, the slides are giving us some trouble here.
Let me just start that again. Okay, so the first thing, if you haven't heard, in the Kumamoto region of Japan, which is on the island of Kyushu, down here we can see this red circle, this area, they have completely stopped using IC cards as of the middle of November 2024. We didn't expect this to happen so soon, but it has happened. So that means all of these IC cards that you see over here, these are all now no longer working in the Kumamoto region of Kyushu. So if you are going to be heading to that region, you need to pay by cash only on the public transportation. Sometime in the springtime, they are supposed to implement their new system, which is probably going to be where you can just tap with credit card. This is not 100% finalized, but just to give you a heads up that in the foreseeable future, if you are going to be traveling in that region, your IC cards will not work. However, anywhere else where you will be traveling in Japan, these are the 10 IC cards that you can have that will work all over Japan. There are always exceptions. For instance, if you are traveling in very small towns using small local transportations, they may not work. So it's always good to carry some cash with you as well. But in general, these are the 10 IC cards. You don't need a Suica, you don't need an Eco card. It can be any of these 10. So no matter where you enter Japan, as long as you get one of these 10, you are going to be good for the most part. Okay.
The main type of Suica card currently available is a registered Suica card where you actually go into the JR office and you get your name written onto the card. You should be able to get that right now. But depending where you enter Japan, you enter Tokyo, you can get Suica or Pasmo, use it throughout most parts of Japan, or say you enter in Hokkaido, then you can get the Kitaka card and use that in most places throughout Japan. These are all interoperable, so any of the areas that accept these 10 major IC cards, you can use any of the 10. Not in Kumamoto, though.
Right. And also regarding the IC cards, if you are entering into Tokyo, you can get the Welcome Suica instead of the regular Suica card. With the Welcome Suica, you don't need to go into the JR office, okay? So you can get it directly from the vending machine, and they are available. As we just saw it a couple days ago, readily available. You can just go to the machine and purchase them right there. And they are good for 28 consecutive days. All right.
We had a question come in already about bringing medication to Japan. So bringing over-the-counter medicine and prescription into Japan, please check with your embassy and also Japan's Ministry of Health and Labor and Welfare.
Yes, let me show you.
So we're not experts at which medications are legal and which are not. And then sometimes if you need to bring a longer supply of medicine than they technically allow, then you may have to apply through the Japanese government for additional documentation to allow you to bring that necessary prescription medication. So I've already put the link to both the U.S. Embassy website and also Japan's Ministry of Health in the description box of this video. So if that pertains to you, the best thing would be to contact the Ministry of Health and see how you need to proceed.
And as you can see here, there is an email address, so please email them. And then again, these are the 4 things that you want to list. You want to make sure you list the type of drug, the active drug ingredients, the name of the medicine, the dosage and quantity, and your email address. So please email them if you have any questions, because the last thing you want to do is bring stuff that's not legal into the country. And also when you do bring them, make sure you declare them with customs. Okay, so I have a graphic here that I can show you that that is also on the embassy website of the United States. That here is an example of some things that are illegal, that are commonly legal in the United States. So please be careful.
So especially if you have any ADHD drugs, a lot of those are illegal. If the substance is completely illegal, then I don't think you can even apply for permission. You just can't bring it at all. So please familiarize yourself with this before packing medication.
Okay, next. World Expo 2025 in Osaka, Kansai is starting in 90 days exactly. So if you are planning on attending, there is a 3-step process. You can't just show up. In typical Japanese fashion, they're making things very complicated. So what you have to do first is you have to create an account, and it's going to take your picture, and stuff. And the next thing after you've created an account is then you can purchase your tickets. After you've purchased your tickets, then you can make a reservation for a particular time slot on a particular day when you can entry. And you can also choose between, multi-entry and things like that. But just take that into consideration. Next, this is just some interesting news, good news actually. If you are planning to go to Team Lab Planet in Tokyo, it is now 1.5 times larger as of the 22nd of this month. So it is super awesome already, but the fact that it's going to be so much bigger is amazing. So if you were planning to go to Team Lab, book in advance, first of all, and plan, I would say, a good 3-4 hours for it now, because it is so huge. So
there's multiple different Team Lab in Japan. So in Tokyo, there's Team Lab Planet, and there's also Team Lab Borderless. There's another Team Lab in Osaka, and maybe others as well.
Yeah, there's even one in Fukuoka, and now I think they're in different parts of the world as well, but it originates right here in Tokyo, so you're going to see some really cool stuff. And highly, highly recommended that you check out Team Lab, either Team Lab Planets or what is one? Borderless in Tokyo, or the outdoor one in Osaka called in the Botanical Garden.
Yeah.
They're all
all
really, really good. Yes.
Okay. They're one of the most popular things to do for a reason.
Yeah. And lately we've been getting a lot of questions about more budget-minded hotels and also for families. One that we really like is the Toyoko Inn. They are all over Japan. So they are a more no-frills type of hotel. They're kind of like a cookie cutter. However, one of the great things about them is you can't beat the price, first of all. And two, all of them include breakfast. Okay, every single one of them include breakfast. And in our opinion, it's good because it gives you a combination of both Western and Japanese dishes. One thing to keep in mind, and this is pretty much with all breakfasts at hotels, is that when they say that there is a deadline of when you can enter, you better follow it because they will not bend 1 minute. So if it says it closes at 9 o'clock, you better be there before 9 o'clock. They will not let you in.
There might be a last entry at 8:30 to get into breakfast if breakfast closes at 9. So
that's true.
They follow the rules.
That's true, correct. So it might actually be a half an hour early, so please check. All right, let's go ahead and get to the questions here. where should we start?
Okay, so try to scroll back up to the beginning. We'll try to start from the beginning here. There are quite a few questions that have come in. You can keep putting your questions in the chat box and we'll try to go through them in order. That doesn't look like the beginning to me. Is it?
Yes.
Oh, but then it cut off all the other. Oh, no, maybe. You want to start from here? I think it cut off the ones from before.
No.
Just start from
unless you want to start with something up there.
Well, how do you pull it up?
Oh, we can't.
For those of you who left your questions before the live actually began, I don't know if we're seeing those ones right here, so you might want to put them in the chat box again during the live, because I'm seeing these.
Yes, well, this is what we're seeing.
Can you go ahead and pull up?
Okay.
Was planning on using IC card while in Tokyo and the day trips near Tokyo, then using the Fuji Hakone pass, then using a Hokuriku pass, then just doing IC card for the rest. Is that a good idea? That sounds like an excellent plan. I do highly recommend the Fuji Hakone pass if you're visiting both the Mount Fuji area and Hakone within a 3-day time period. Also, we're big fans of the Hokuriku Arch Pass if you're going to be taking that arched route and stopping off at cities between Tokyo and getting to Kyoto, such as you can stop off at Nagoya, Kanazawa, Fukui, and using the IC card whenever you need to. That sounds like an excellent plan. We have an old video on our channel called How to Travel Japan by Train Without a JR Pass, and that kind of explains using these combinations of regional passes and IC card so that you don't need to spend a lot of money on a whole Japan Rail Pass.
There's so many. I'm just gonna.
Love your channel. Thank you. We've booked most things for our honeymoon itinerary for end of February, but have 2 days between Kyoto and Tokyo to fill. Where else would you recommend what things to do? Sometimes you might want to just give yourself more days. We hear from a lot of people that they overpack their schedule and they wish they had just some downtime. So even just adding another day in Tokyo where maybe you don't have a whole lot of activities scheduled, but you can just wander around a certain area. It doesn't have to be every single day super action-packed.
In fact, I think most people actually overpack their schedule. So I think less is more, especially if you're going to be in places like Tokyo or Kyoto, because it's going to be slow going to get to places. One, because it's so crowded, it's going to take longer, excuse me, to enter places. And two, especially in Tokyo, it just takes really long to get to places. You know, even though the transportation system is so good, you have to walk to stations, and because of the crowds, everything slows you down a bit.
So I might just give yourself more time, maybe an extra day in Kyoto or just some extra days in Tokyo.
Oh, why isn't that working? Okay, this is from the person previously on the question. This is a common question that we're getting is,
first? It says, so as a follow-up, or should we just get the JR Pass? We're also traveling with a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. I've tried to use the calculator, but it stalls me every time. So I think your idea, this was the one of using the Fuji Hakone Pass and also using the Hokuriku Pass. Those are probably going to be better than getting the whole Japan Rail Pass, because once they increase the prices of those, the price is just so high on the whole Japan Rail Pass that you really have to be traveling from one city to the next every single day of those 7 days to make it worthwhile. So the first example of using the Hokuriku Arch Pass is probably the better option. And we do have a video on KENSHOQUEST about whether the JR Pass is still worth it. And in that one, we talk about 2 different ways that you can calculate whether it's going to be worth the money for you. Any dishes you would recommend to try that may not be well known? You may have better.
Well, it really depends on your comfort level, I would say. But one thing that Japan is really well known for is their desserts. So I would highly recommend you try something called anmitsu, which is a traditional Japanese dessert, and it's also gluten-free. By the way, there's a lot of gluten-free desserts that are made with beans and things like that. So especially like in Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka, you will find a lot of places that sell traditional Japanese desserts called anmitsu, or also there's another one called wagashi that you can get with tea. These are really great that if you go to a tea place, you can just ask for a wagashi and they will serve these really, these beautiful desserts. They're kind of like works of art, I would say. So just for the experience itself, it's really great. And same with the anmitsu, there's so many different kinds and you'll find them all over the place. Some of them will add ice cream to it, but it's usually with red beans and some type of, what else do they usually put in it? Sesame. Yeah. Anyways, I highly recommend trying something like that. As for regular types of food, if you're going to Osaka, that is where I think they invented okonomiyaki there. Okonomiyaki. I highly recommend that. It's kind of like a pasta, except it's very savory. They cook like eggs and seafood and all kinds of things on top of that. Super duper delicious. Okay. I think we should just start making some videos on stuff like that.
So far we don't make a whole lot of food videos. It's partly because we have 3 very young kids, and so it's not always convenient to try to go to restaurants that have a long wait or things that are more difficult to get.
Okay, this is also from Ludivine. Again, hi, when can you start buying tickets for attractions, Team Lab, Shibuya Sky, and Shinkansen?
It can vary. So what I always do is I go onto our favorite platform, Klook, which we do work with quite a bit. And if you want to get a discount on Klook, you can try our our coupon code is KENSHOQUEST Klook, which might give you a discount on some of the attractions. But I just go on there and I just do the check availability and see how far in advance it lets me book. Some things are a month. Shinkansen tickets, you can actually reserve your seats 1 month in advance. The attractions, I think it may vary, so I always just check on the Klook calendar to see how far out it's allowing me to book it.
In particular with Shibuya Sky, if you are planning to go in the evening, try to do that as far in advance as possible because the evening time is always booked. So
in general, things tend to be about 1 month out.
Yeah. Team Lab, you can even do it 3 or 4 days in advance. Just don't do it the day before, otherwise it's going to be sold out in general.
Yeah, Team Lab don't just show up because there'll probably be a sign saying that they're fully booked. Sold out.
Okay, this is a good one too. So we're going to be here all day.
Where would you go for good thrift stores? I only personally know of a couple. There's one called Second Street, which is a chain. There's a lot of Second Street locations all throughout Japan. And then there's also the Book Off, Heart Off. What other ones are there?
Yeah, it's more of a local place, and they probably won't be happy that we're telling you about that. But these are also all over the place. So
can you name them?
Yeah.
So the original one is called Book Off.
Yeah, originally it's called Book Off, but they sell more than books. It's an interesting name. They have another one called Heart Off, and there's another one I can't think of the name. But if you see any of those, just go into them. They have all kinds of unique stuff, all kinds of collectibles, things that you just be like you could spend your entire day there, especially if you're a geek like me.
I think there's a new one that's like crafts and DIY type stuff too, but I just can't think off the top of my head what it's called. I would like to start doing some more content here about thrift stores. They're not always going to be super inexpensive. For instance, for the clothing ones, you might find really high-end, nice, jackets and coats. Also, there's a lot of purses. I know it can be popular to shop for authentic leather purses here, since there's a good chance you're getting an authentic piece.
Yeah. But if you're looking for thrift stores in general, I recommend going into the arcades. So the arcades are like these covered old shopping centers. They don't really build these anymore, but you'll see them in every city, in all the major parts of town. It's like an art shape. A shopping street.
You walk along it.
Yeah. So go inside one of those and just, take your time and look around, and you'll find thrift stores in those. We just got so many. I'm just trying.
Sorry, we're just skipping over some if it's repetitive or if it's not actually a question. Somebody did have a suggestion of making some videos on like the top 10 best things to do in Tokyo or some different places. Thank you for that suggestion.
This one's from Marilu. Hi, I love your channel. Great info. From Yokohama Cruise Port to Shinjuku. Which line can I take? The Minatomirai or Shonan Shinjuku line? Does either allow luggage? So with either of those, you can certainly take luggage onto them. Those are both very new lines. You can take either of them. However, just keep in mind that when you get on those stations, make sure you find the elevators. Those, like I said, the whole entire area is very new. They're really nice stations, so you'll be able to find them to get to the top. And then once you get towards Shinjuku, if you're going to, Shinjuku, it's going to get really, really crowded. So I recommend that you stay near towards the back end of the train cars. So don't try not to enter in the center of the train cars, but try to enter on the ends of the train cars. That way there's more space for you where you can keep your luggage, because chances are it's going to get really crowded by the time you get to Shinjuku.
And try to avoid rush hour when you're bringing luggage onto local trains. So the evening time or the morning time when people are commuting, that's when it's really hard to fit luggage onto a train.
And as far as apps, if you're talking about transportation apps, we typically use Google Maps. I mean, there's a bunch of them out there that you can try. And, I think it all just depends on you which one you're more comfortable with. And we personally use Google Maps.
And there's a possibility that the cruise ports may have luggage forwarding service. We tried to find a definitive answer on this and we couldn't quite find the answer. But if you arrive and there's a Yamato Transport or other luggage delivery service, you might want to use that just to send your luggage ahead to your hotel.
Yeah, that's a great idea. All right. Okay. This one's also from Marilu, but this is a very good question. Downloaded the Suica app, but it's in Japanese. Did not find it in English. Do you recommend getting the actual card? So, go ahead.
I think I can clarify this. There are two different things. There is the Suica app, which you're probably seeing in Japanese, and then there's actually installing a Suica card directly through Apple Wallet. So this is only going to work if you have an iPhone and you go into your Apple Wallet and you search for transportation card and scroll down to Japan, and Japan has Suica, Pasmo, or Ikoka card are the three options. So you need to do that directly through, there's like a little plus sign within Apple Wallet to add a transportation card. That's separate from the Suica Finance app. They're two different things.
So basically, don't install the Suica app. You don't need the Suica app at all.
The only time you might need it is if you're trying to figure out what the card number is for your digital Suica card. For example, if you're buying your Shinkansen tickets on Smart EX and it requires you to enter your Suica card number that you want to link to your ticket, then you might use the Suica Finance app to figure out what your Suica card number is. But if you just want to install and use a Suica card, just do that directly through Apple Wallet. And I prefer Pasmo. I find that I've never had any translation issues. So I've put Pasmo on my phone through Apple Wallet. It seems to be even the Pasmo Finance app is a little bit easier to use compared to the Suica one.
Okay, from Lizzie. I was wondering if you could recommend JR Pass or Regional Pass. My itinerary is Tokyo 2 nights, Nagano 2 nights, Osaka 2 nights, Kyoto 3 nights, Kusatsu 2 nights, and then Tokyo 3 nights. For this route, you probably don't need any pass at all. And the reason is because it's, I think, 9 nights or 9 or 10 nights. You're kind of in between. And also the area that you're going to is pretty much the golden route. And the golden route does not save you any money by getting any type of pass. And the main reason for this is because you have something called JR Central that's right in the middle. And they don't play nice with the other JR companies. They don't have passes. So because of that, there's no pass that it really works well for this type of...
Other than the whole Japan Rail
Yes.
Pass, which is probably too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, I mean, because the Hokuriku Arch Pass, I don't think would do you justice as well. That's the only one that would do this kind of arch that you want. But for the number of nights that you have, you're probably better off just purchasing individual Shinkansen tickets for each leg of your journey.
And we have multiple videos on our channel about how to purchase Shinkansen tickets. He's done a couple about how to purchase them on Klook and also how to purchase them on SmartEX, which is for a specific area
Yes.
of Japan.
So if you want to use SmartEX, it only works from Tokyo west and south onwards. It does not go anywhere north or towards the Hokuriku region. And this is because there are different JR companies. And SmartEX is run by the western part of Japan, not the eastern or northern part of Japan. So, a lot of people wondering, well, why does the system not work? Well, it's because there's 6 different companies. There's not one.
So you could watch some of those videos on how to buy individual single journey Shinkansen tickets and get just the tickets you need for the days that you need them. You can also buy them at a station from a JR ticket office or from a ticket vending machine.
Okay, from AJ, is the second week of April too late for cherry blossom blooms? I was planning Tokyo for a few days, followed by Osaka, then returning to Tokyo for the convention. Appreciate your help.
It varies, and so each year they release a cherry blossom forecast, and so I would start following that. The thing is, even their cherry blossom forecast is not necessarily accurate. Like, we were here last spring and we were following it, and we thought it was going to happen at the very end of March, beginning of April for full bloom in Tokyo, and it was at least a whole week late for full bloom. So you can look at those cherry blossom forecasts and get a general idea, but even that could be wrong. It's a very difficult thing to time to try to perfectly get the cherry blossoms.
Yeah, but I think you got a good chance. I mean, just
there
because
might still be some.
Yes.
They might be falling off the trees.
And what you might want to do is, if you have the extra time, is try to plan a little bit extra time to give yourself a little bit of leeway, beforehand and afterwards. Because the way it was last year anyways, it was really sporadic and spread out.
And then it varies. When they bloom in Tokyo is different than Osaka, different than North and Hokkaido. So sometimes if you have flexibility in your schedule, you might be able to go to somewhere where they're blooming.
Because oddly enough, in Tokyo last year, they were blooming already in the first week of March, actually, because it got warm. But then also at the end of April, we were still seeing new blooms. So it just depends. Yeah, it was pretty much in full bloom by the end of April, wouldn't you say? Yeah.
Now I'm all confused.
Yeah, I think it was it was really late last year, I thought.
Yeah, about a week later than the forecast said it would be.
Okay, from Jay. Hello, are there any changes on shopping tax-free? Do I need to gather all my receipts and request for a tax refund at the airport, or will we be automatically deducted upon payment at the stores?
I think this is changing very soon. So
next year. It's changing next year. 2026 is
2026.
Yeah.
So currently a lot of the shops like Don Quixote or other ones that they know they get a lot of tourists, you can just go in a special tax-free line when you check out and show your passport and not have to pay the consumption tax. But they are changing that, I think, because too many people were taking advantage of it. Is when you buy it tax-free, you're not supposed to open and use those items within Japan. You take them out of Japan back to your home country, and that's where you're supposed to use them. And I think too many people were kind of abusing the system, that they are going to be changing it to you keep your receipts, and then at the airport you get refunded the tax.
One of our kids needs a water break here. Hold on. I'm going to skip over some of these questions. I will try to answer them once I have more information later. So if we don't get to them, we will try to answer everything in the comments.
It takes a while for the live to process onto our channel, and after a few hours when it's processed, then we're able to write in the comment section below the video. So at that point we can try to respond to any questions that we didn't get to. Your videos are super helpful. Thank you. After a 2-week tour, I'm going to Osaka 3 nights. Soroyama, can you read it?
Juju, Niigata, okay, and then Sekizen-kan, Gunma, and then back to Tokyo, JR Pass or not. For this route, I would not get a JR Pass because it looks like you're really going in one direction. I'm trying to think if any pass would work well for that as well. I don't think so. I think you're going to have to go individual Shinkansens for this route as well. In many cases these days, individual Shinkansen tickets are going to be your best bet. And even on some of these, for some of the places you're going, you're probably going to have to get even express trains, not just Shinkansen. All right, let's see.
Okay, thank you for your great advice. Any tips for how to navigate hotels when traveling with kids? Most hotels offer one king or two twins. Do they assume you need an extra bed? So I was telling George ahead of time to prepare and let you know that we often book hotel rooms that have 3 beds in them. So which hotels have those?
So it's very, My Stays, we look at Japanese chains for these in particular. My Stays is a very good one, especially for families. So is Keihan and also the Art Hotel. Those also, typically, we have no problem getting 3 beds in those hotels. Also Appa. So they're more family friendly, more budget friendly, and even their breakfasts are decent at all of these hotels. So look for the Japanese ones. We're trying to add more of them to our Expedia shop. So we'll put a link to that, in the description.
I think I already did.
Later.
So if you're new here, we work with Expedia, and we have what's called an Expedia travel shop. And within that, we have collections. So he's made collections for different areas of Tokyo, for Osaka, and he added some new ones recently for more family-friendly hotels for those of you who are looking for that.
So I also mentioned the Toyoko Inn earlier. However, the Toyoko Inn is so popular that if you want to stay there, you're going to have to book as far in advance as possible. Otherwise, there's a high chance you'll have to get 2 rooms, which is sometimes we have to do depending on the location. And, if we're too close to our date, sometimes there's no availability, right? So look at 2 rooms also, like split it. Like if, 1 adult, 1 child, another adult and 2 child is what we usually do as well. And sometimes we get some pretty good prices that way too. Okay.
I just put the link for our Expedia travel shop into the chat box for anybody who's looking for hotels. Should we get yen in the US or in Japan? Our personal preference is that we just wait until we arrive in Japan and we use our debit card in the ATM at the airport. They have Japan Post ATMs and also 7 bank ATMs. And I have a video specifically about using ATMs in Japan, what you want to do. For example, proceeding in Japanese yen, not selecting the marked up conversion rate to US dollars when you use the ATM. So for us, that's been the best option. If you're really nervous and you just feel better having a little bit of yen on you when you arrive, you can order it through your bank a couple weeks before your trip. But for us, we just show up, we use the ATM right away at the airport. And then also there are so many ATMs throughout Japan. The 7-Eleven stores have the 7 bank ATMs, the post offices have Japan Post, train stations have multiple different ones, Aeon shopping malls have their own ATMs as well, so there's no shortage. When you're in a big city like Tokyo, if you go somewhere more remote in the countryside, then you might have a little bit harder time finding an ATM.
If you are in the countryside, look for the post office. They will have it.
But reduced hours of operation.
Reduced hours of operation, so, correct.
If you go somewhere really remote, take some cash with you. But if you're arriving into Tokyo, we've never had a problem just using the ATM.
In fact, we pay by credit card for almost everything. Okay, we don't buy to that cash only.
A lot of people say cash is king, but there's only certain, small family-owned shops or small restaurants that will only accept cash. We tend to go more to chain restaurants in train stations, shopping malls, department stores. Those places we just pay by credit card. If you're recharging a physical IC card, you'll need cash for that.
From Chunlan, do you think it's fine to have a Suica card on my phone? I will travel only 5 days in Kyoto and already bought 2-day tours through Klook. Thank you.
Yeah, as long as you have an iPhone, then that's fine to go ahead and get a digital Suica. If you have an Android phone, then that's not an option.
One thing to keep in mind, though, is whenever you have the digital version of the IC card, it's almost impossible to get your balance refunded. So take that into consideration. Okay, so try to use it all up before you leave Japan, especially if you're not planning to come back in the near future. And because you can use your digital IC card at 7-Elevens, at a lot of restaurants as well, especially near train stations. They're widely accepted. So you can
at vending machines. Yeah. So you can try to use up the balance. And what we do is we just don't put a ton of balance on it. You know, if you're getting near the end of your trip, maybe only recharge it 1,000 yen at a time, so that if you end up with, 500 yen left on it, it's not a big deal.
From Melissa, going to Japan for the first time this March, staying in Ueno area. Anything that you can recommend around there? Well, first of all, there's the Ueno Park. It's great. It's fantastic. It's a really good park. There's also a zoo there, and they also have some really good museums connected to the station as well, which is right next to the park.
Is it a science museum?
Yeah, there's a
science and history.
Yeah, there's a couple of museums. We haven't been there.
I think it's been a while.
15 since our son was a baby was the last time we went there. But it's really good. It's one of the best museums, I would say, in the Tokyo area. And also Ueno is also very close to Asakusa area, which is where they have the Sensoji Temple, which is a must, though crazy crowded. It's a must, so try to go there in the morning. And also from Ueno Station, you can hop on the Shinkansen as well. So take that into consideration if you're planning to go to Kyoto or anywhere else. You can hop on the, well, I take that back. If you're going north or east, then you can take the Shinkansen from Ueno. If you're going south, then you have to go to Tokyo Station first. Anyways.
Depends where you're going, which station you can get on. Okay, how much yen should we get and what denominations do you suggest? When we use the ATM, it has an option for 50,000 yen. Some ATMs have an option to get out 100,000 yen as the maximum at one time, but you can repeat the transaction again. There's usually a small transaction fee of around 220 yen, so if you withdraw 2 times in a row, you'll get charged that again. But we usually start a trip by taking out either 100,000 or 50,000 yen. Again, I have a digital IC card that's all loaded up, and I just recharge that with my credit card, and I could pay at a lot of shops with that digital IC card as well. So we personally don't rely a ton on cash. We just have it on hand for those chances when they'll only accept cash. And
it's perfectly fine to have large bills in Japan. People will be able to change it, no problem. So if you're carrying a 10,000 bill, a 5,000, it's okay.
Yeah, the ATM will distribute 10,000 yen bills usually. And then there are some times when it's good to have 1,000 on you. So I'll break at a convenience store to have 1,000. For instance, if you're riding a bus and you don't have exact change, usually you can slide in the 1,000 and they'll give you 100 yen coins. Or if you're trying to use a coin locker, there might again be a place where you can insert a 1,000 yen bill and get 100 yen coins to use a locker, to use a washing machine. So it is nice to have 1,000 on you as well. Thank you for the super chat. What happened? Oh, you clicked over here.
Yeah.
Can you click back to all? Okay, going down the list again. We kind of lost our place there.
Okay, I just wanted to bring this up again here, that regarding the digital Suica or the Pasmo, we personally prefer the Pasmo card, because if you need to get your number, sometimes you might need the number of your IC card. It is much easier to get it from the Pasmo than it is to get it from the Suica card. Everybody talks about the Suica, but the Pasmo, in our preference, is our preference because it is easier to use in the digital version.
Yes, I install the Pasmo through Apple Wallet, but if I need to install the Pasmo Finance app on my phone in order to get the card number, that's been fine in English. Also, whenever you're having translation issues on your phone, make sure that the settings on your phone are set to language English region United States, because we've had times maybe we had it set to language English region Malaysia and it wouldn't translate correctly on our phone. So you want to check both the language and the region settings within your phone settings if you're having translation issues for any Japanese app on your phone.
All right. Going to Japan in March, what is the best route from HMD to Osaka? So if you want to get if you're going the same day, what you want to do is you want to take the train to go to Shinagawa Station. From Shinagawa Station, you want to hop on the Tokaido Shinkansen. And your best bet is to take the Nozomi service, okay, because it's the fastest and the price is about the same. It's going to cost close to $100 per person.
I suppose flying would be another option too.
Oh yeah, you could fly too, but we never consider that because I mean, it's just so much easier to take the train. You don't have to go, you don't have to go through security. You don't have to check anything. It's just, and in many cases, it's going to be faster too. But you can certainly fly directly from Haneda to Osaka, either Kansai or to Itami Airport, depending on where you're staying. Okay, Wi-Fi addict question. I will be traveling to Tokyo, Osaka, and Himeji April 29th to May 9th. Is this a bad idea since it's Golden Week? Any advice or recommendations or sites to see that would be helpful?
That is Golden Week, so it's going to be an extremely busy time. My first advice is book everything as soon as you can. So any train tickets, any attractions, book them immediately 1 month in advance, because that is going to be a very crowded time of year.
Yeah, as far as sites to see, if you can give us some ideas of things you want to do.
Himeji Castle, we
highly recommend Himeji Castle. Yeah, if you're going to see any castle in Japan that's along one of these popular routes, Himeji would be it. Otherwise, our favorite castle is Matsumoto Castle, which is on a completely, different side on the Hokuriku region. But Himeji, otherwise, is a absolutely must-see castle. Okay.
Oh, I like this one. So where would you recommend shopping, preferably places that are not marked up for tourists? I think I want to do a future video on that. Like there's a place in Akihabara. I think it's called 2K45, and it's a artisan shopping street, so all made in Japan goods. I'm planning to go there soon and check it out. I do have a video right now about my favorite souvenirs from Japan that might be a little bit more unique things than not all the other YouTubers are talking about. But I think for a future upcoming video, I'm going to try to do something on more unique places to shop.
Also, you might want to just try regular shopping malls. Okay, we like to, we go to, don't go to the ones that are in the really touristy areas, but so if you see a shopping mall called, what's the one that we just, Lalaport. Lalaport is a very big one. Yes, it's just a shopping mall. However, they also do usually have stores that sell, goods that would be perfect for tourists as well, and they're not marked up. So even some of the Aeon shopping malls as well. Look for those. From Ray.
What are your tips for traveling to Japan in August? I come from a country with tropical. Okay, so you're at least used to hot and humid, which is good because it is extremely hot and humid in Japan in the summertime. It can be really uncomfortable. I do have one video that's a summer packing list for Japan that gives some tips to prepare. But if you're used to heat and humidity, you should be okay. There is a risk of heat stroke in the summer. Some people are just not aware of how intense the conditions can be, especially if you're doing a lot of walking.
But since you're coming from the tropics, I think you're going to be fine. Yeah. Okay, from Marlon. Hi. Once I get to Haneda Airport, is it too difficult to get to Tokyo? What is the best transportation? I heard there is a train. What is the process? So we have a video that goes into all of the details on that. It'll be linked below. However, this really depends on where you're staying and what you plan. And your comfort level. So you can take, there's two different trains that you can take. You can also take the Tokyo monorail, which will take you right into Tokyo. Or you could take the limousine bus, which is also very comfortable and very easy to do. However, the limousine bus only stops at particular hotels in the area. So if you decide to take the limousine bus, you can check in to see if it's near your hotel, and then you can either walk the rest of the way or take a taxi. Or that's another option, is take a taxi. A lot of people just take a taxi directly from the airport. And our personal preference is to hire private transport because it just makes it so much easier when you have 3 little kids in tow. So there are a lot of options. Again, we have a video on that. It'll be linked in the description.
I just dropped the link to the video into the chat box if you want to check there for it.
From Half Dome. Heidi, you can answer this question.
Is it feasible for 2 adults to visit both Disney Sea and Disneyland on one day? If so, where should we start? I wouldn't recommend it. When we visited Disneyland, the lines were so crazy long. We got in line before opening time, waiting and waiting, hoping that we could get on the Beauty and the Beast ride. And even though we rushed straight there when they opened the gates, the line was so long. And then all day the line was like 2 hours long. We never got on the ride. So expect the lines to be crazy long, and then if you really want to get on something, you should pay extra for, I think they call it Premier Access, but whatever it is where you have to pay to get in a faster line, use that if you really want to get on a ride. But personally, I would do those as separate days, and I prefer Disney Sea over Disneyland since Disney Sea is unique to Japan. And they've opened the Fantasy Springs area of Disney Sea now, which is a little bit tricky to get into. So all the amusement parks here in Japan, expect them to be extremely crowded, for there to be a crowd waiting even before the doors open, for there to be long lines. So personally, I would rather give a whole day for one park to be able to enjoy it more versus being rushed between 2 parks and maybe you only get on a couple rides in each park.
And thank you for the super chat, by the way. Much appreciated. Yeah, and again, we both prefer Disney Sea, so if you end up choosing one over the other, Disney Sea. Disneyland, in our opinion, is so outdated compared to Disney Sea.
Plus, there's Disneyland in so many places in the world, and Disney Sea is only here in Japan.
Is March 7th to the 21st a busy time in Japan? It can be. So springtime, it starts to get busy. Like right now, it's kind of like low season, but it's going to depend on where you're planning to go. So take that into consideration too. If you're going to be in the busy places, then it's going to be busy no matter what. So for instance, if you're going to like Mount Fuji or something like that, it's going to be busy no matter what. Same with most places in Tokyo. But it's going to get actually more busier towards the end of your trip than the beginning. But for the most part, I think you'll be okay. It won't be too busy. I'm probably just jumping all over the place here. I don't know. Sorry.
Spring is busy in general.
Spring is busy in general.
Golden
yes.
Week is the busiest part of spring.
Yeah. But this is still early spring. So for the most part, I think it'd be fine.
We used to always avoid the busy times of year. We visited spring last year and it was kind of too much for me. I'm coming from California, not Canada. Canada, California. Best car rentals to book from us before arriving to Tokyo. This is great.
I highly recommend that you book it in advance, and the reason why is that they commonly sell out. So just make sure you book in advance. And also the prices do tend to rise. And make sure that you have your international driver permit before you come, and because you'll need to present that as well as your passport. Other than that, renting a car in Japan is almost the exact same as renting in the United States. Oh, and if you're, I've rented from Toyota Rental Car as well as Oryx, and the services both have been very good. Okay, this one's from Kate. I'll let you answer this.
For a mom going alone with a kid 6 years old in February, thank you. Well, the good thing is that Japan is very family friendly. It's a great place. Anything from having small kids tables to eat at restaurants to child size toilets. It's really kid friendly. So 6 years old. Kids 6 to 11 years old get special child fare on transportation. So you might want to watch a video on getting a child Suica card. That way your 6-year-old would pay half the price for transportation. Also, if you're taking any bullet trains, that's also about half the price of adult fare. And just try to look for things that your kid might like. We like to do, picnics in the park. February is still kind of cold for that.
Yes.
One of my favorite things is Sanrio Pearl Land, which is like a Hello Kitty amusement park. We have a video on that. Our kids also really enjoy Disney Sea. There's so many fun things to do.
Japan is probably the most kid-friendly country in the world, and it's also just set up. It's just set up for kids to give them more power, independence. Yes. So like everywhere, like Heidi was saying, the restrooms and everything, they got lower sinks just for them. They got toilets just for them. Even in the shopping malls, it's just set up. Everything is set up for the kids. So it's fantastic.
It's very safe. It's definitely a country that I would feel fine traveling alone with a kid.
If you have specific questions on this, we're planning on making more videos about, traveling with kids. Please drop them in the comments below. From Tobias, hello. Is it possible to go to Hiroshima from Kyoto, visit the memorial and the island, and come back on the same day? Yes, it is possible. However, in order to do that, you're going to have to go through Osaka first, through Shin Osaka. So take that into consideration, that's going to take you like another half an hour just to do that, because you're going to have to change trains in Osaka. But you can totally do that. It's a lot of people do that in one day. Yes. But start early. And also, know your train times. You're going to have to take the Shinkansen. So just know the train times. From Steve, arrive at Haneda at 5 a.m. Is it common to request an early check-in or simply store bags in a coin locker at a train station? So the good thing with the Japan hotels is, while they may not give you an early check-in, they will store your bags for you. We've never had a hotel. We've never, correct. I don't know for sure for all, but certainly for us, in our case, no one has ever said, we're not going to watch your bags for you.
So we usually just show up at the hotel, ask to leave our bags, and then go out for the day. We just arrived at Haneda at 5 a.m. and we were so tired. Yeah. And a lot of things are not open yet at the airport. If you're trying to pick up anything like train passes or Wi-Fi or anything like that, almost nothing was open at 5 a.m. But yeah, you probably don't have to use a coin locker. You can probably leave your luggage at your hotel.
Yeah. From Ren, just joined Suica installed on our iPhones, but need one for our 9-year-old. Just get that at Haneda. Yes, you're going to have to get a physical IC card, and you can do that at Haneda. There is machines as soon as you go through immigration and you come out to the main hall. It's going to be on the left side. Go past, there's going to be like a round information booth, and on the right side you will see it's going to be red basically, and it'll say welcome Suica card. You can just get one right there from the machine.
They have child ones for that. Because they're asking for a child.
Oh, a child one. For a child one,
that would be a child.
You might have to go into the office. So the offices don't open, I think, until 7
It depends. There might be some machines that will scan their passport.
Yeah.
Because if it's a child one, 6 to 11, they need to verify their age. So if the machine will scan the passport and verify their age, then you might be able to get a child one from the machine. If you can't get it right away at Haneda, you could try just at a major JR office.
Yeah, so
station.
Any large train station in Tokyo will have it as well, that you can just go into. You just need to show your passport. But if you want to get it right away when you arrive, there is a JR ticket office right behind the ticket machines. It should be open by 7 a.m. But like Heidi said, go ahead and try the machine first. Some of them now allow you to scan your passport. We'll check that the next time we go there.
So for the child Suica ones, you can only get the physical plastic card if you want to get that reduced child fare. There's no digital version for the child fare.
Do we want to get into any of that?
Maybe pull one up.
Okay.
So this is, can I bring Tylenol? I have heard the dosage is lower in Japan. The main one that I know that you can't bring is Tylenol cold and flu. A lot of the ones that are decongestant medicines are not allowed in Japan. So just regular Tylenol, I'm not 100% sure on. But it tends to be, the cold and flu type decongestant medicines that contain something that's not allowed.
They do sell Tylenol here, so like I said, it might not be the same dosage that you need. So, but if you might be okay with that, maybe you can also just purchase it here.
We always use a translation app on our phone when we're trying to read the medication. It is a little bit difficult finding medication at a pharmacy if you don't read Japanese.
I'm guessing from the website that prescription drugs should be in their prescription containers. Yes.
Yes.
Please.
And with
Please.
your prescription.
And have your prescription as well.
As much documentation as you have regarding it. Yes. In its prescription container with the prescription on it. Somebody else's don't bring Tylenol. I know don't bring Tylenol cold and flu. Okay. Would you recommend spending 2 nights near Mount Fuji or just go for one day and return to Tokyo? Is it possible to go without a tour, or would you recommend a tour? We actually do like staying longer. I have one video on our channel that's a three-day itinerary for the Mount Fuji area. But if you want to watch that and just do day 1 and day 2, I think it's a good idea to stay there because then you get a better chance of a clear day. So depending what time of year you go, like right now in the winter, we might have a good chance at getting clear skies and seeing Mount Fuji. But if you're going sometime in the spring or the summer, it can be really hard to get a clear day. And it would be a bummer to go on a one-day tour and not even be able to see Fuji and then go home. Whereas if you spend a couple nights, then you have more chances of getting to see it.
But a couple of years ago, we spent an entire week there and did not see Fuji the entire week. So.
But then we went again, and we had like one day where there's zero visibility, and the next day we woke up to just a gorgeous view of it. And we got really lucky with a nice sunny day that was in the springtime.
Yeah.
So
you just never know.
The longer you stay, the better chances you have of a clear sky.
And definitely in the wintertime, you have the highest chance.
I am planning to try to do one of the one-day bus tours soon to Mount Fuji, just so I can see which one I recommend. If anybody has some suggestions of which tour I should try, you can let me know. Is it easy to use Yamato since airport? Yes, we're big fans of Yamato Transport. We have 2 videos about luggage forwarding or luggage delivery on our channel, and so you can easily visit the Yamato Transport counter, or also JAL ABC offers luggage delivery too, and you can have your suitcase forwarded from the airport to your hotel. We wanted to try that this time around, but we're not staying in an actual hotel. We're staying in a vacation rental, so we weren't able to do it. But JAL ABC now has same-day luggage delivery from Haneda Airport to Tokyo hotels, and Yamato Transport is another option. They're located right next to each other.
Yeah, right next to each other. So as soon as you go through the arrival hall, it's going to be on the far end, on the right end.
That's at Haneda.
All the way at the end. At Haneda, yes, at Haneda. In Narita, there are multiple locations, and they're also at the ends of the halls.
Just keep in mind weight restrictions. So I think Yamato, it's up to about 30 kg per piece of luggage you want to forward. And I think that same day JAL ABC is like 20 kg. So just make sure you don't have your bag packed too heavy that you want to forward.
And the good thing is, since you will be at the airport, they will speak English. So you'll have no problem there.
You'll need to know like the location you want to send it to.
From Nicholas, hi, is taxi really expensive in Tokyo? How much more expensive compared to train, especially for transit to Narita, when we may have a lot of luggage to carry with our kids? So compared to the cost of a taxi in the United States, I would say taxis in Japan are cheaper. However, if you compare to a train, it's obviously a lot more expensive than taking the train. Now, with a lot of luggage, what we tend to do is, I think you have 2 options. One, you can use Yamato Transport, what I was just mentioning. That is a very cost-effective way to get to the airport. Sorry, just got some little kids in the background here. However, if you want to ship it to the airport, you need to do it at least.
Talking about transportation.
Yeah, I'm just giving an example.
Okay, so if you want to ship your luggage ahead of time to the airport a couple days in advance, so you don't have to deal with your luggage on the way to the airport.
Right. But if you have a lot of luggage and you want the easiest way possible, then you can hire private transport, which is what we would do. However, to get to Narita, it's going to cost you at least $100 US for that transportation. But it is, excuse me, but it is very nice door-to-door service that just makes it really easy.
And that private transfer is actually more affordable than just taking a regular taxi, because what you need to keep in mind with Narita is it's very far. It's not even really technically within Tokyo.
Yes. But yeah, I think that those are your different options. But you can certainly take, the other option is to take the Narita Express. You can take that from either Shinjuku, Shibuya, or even Tokyo stations. And that'll be probably your most economical way as far as taking a train.
And those do accommodate your luggage. They expect you to have luggage.
And also, the seats are reserved.
And he has a couple videos on getting to and from the airports. Is it safe for a single female to travel alone? I would feel safe traveling by myself in Tokyo. There's certain areas that I might not go out at night. I don't even know what they're called in the Shinjuku area. What's that one area? Kabukicho or something?
Yeah, Kabukicho areas.
Kabukicho, maybe I would avoid at night, but I would definitely feel safe traveling as a single female in Tokyo in general.
pretty much anywhere in Japan, I think is pretty safe even at night.
You want to read it?
From Nick, hi there. We leave May 17th. We are planning on a day maybe more in Tokyo. We also want to visit Nikko, Kanazawa, Takayama, and maybe Fuji. Should we consider any form of the JR Pass?
Possibly the Hokuriku Arch Pass. We have a video on that. So it goes from Tokyo, it arches to Kanazawa, and then to Osaka. But Nikko's off in a different direction. Takayama, you would still need to pay a little bit separate from the Hokuriku Arch Pass to get to. So if you're in Tokyo and you want to do day trips to Mount Fuji and also to Nikko, you could consider the Tokyo Wide Pass, and that's a 3-day pass. So you could use it one day to get all the way to Fuji, one day to get to Nikko, and then I recommend also using it somewhere on that 3rd day as well if you really want to get your money's worth from the Tokyo Wide Pass. Any thoughts?
Yeah, other than that, I think the Hokuriku Arch Pass will only do you justice if you actually plan to visit a lot of places in that arch area. So I would check out the map. Otherwise, like Heidi said, I think the only pass good for you would be the Tokyo Wide Pass.
Which is meant for side trips from Tokyo.
From Tokyo, yes.
You don't really need a pass if you're just going to be within Tokyo, unless you want to get like a subway pass or use an IC card. Most of these passes are meant to go to other cities.
From Ducky, Japan web online submission entering Japan. Can I complete it with my son minor in one profile, or do I have to create a separate profile? Yes, you can create it all in one profile. Just one person needs to fill it out, and the rest of your family members can be all under the same one.
So the example, he did it on his phone, and he put all 5 of us within that same one. But you do need to complete the whole process for each person so that at the end, each person has their own unique QR code.
Yes. If you did not get the QR code for each person, then you have not completed it completely.
It's kind of confusing. It doesn't tell you, like, you still need to do more, so you can think you're done with it when you're not done.
Yes. And also this time, we, instead of connecting to the internet and showing them that way, we actually did a print screen on all of them.
Screenshot.
Yeah, we screenshotted them just in case. Because just in case the internet's not working for some reason, then you still have it on your phone as pictures. That's what we did. It was much easier that way and faster.
Yeah, that works as long as you screenshot each individual QR code. The reason it didn't work for me last time is I accidentally only generated 1 QR code. And then I had to quickly, frantically fill out the rest of it while we're waiting in line.
We still make mistakes all the time.
So can you recommend the best mid-range overnight bus from Shinjuku to Kyoto, Osaka?
So we don't have any in particular. However, kosokubus.com has basically, they're just like an aggregator website that has a bunch of different buses. And I think they also have ratings on them. We'll go ahead and link to them in the description.
Can you spell?
Kosoku, KOSOKU.com.
Yeah, he has a video on how to get from Tokyo to Kyoto or Osaka that has that as one of the options.
From Velvetia, what neighborhoods do you recommend to stay in that's affordable but still convenient to access and travel to other parts of the city? We're also interested in generally lively area all day. Well,
we're guessing you're talking about Tokyo. He did do a video on where to stay in Tokyo that goes over the different neighborhoods. Affordable, I like the Asakusa area.
Asakusa and Sumida area is more affordable than some of the more popular areas, and Asakusa is also a very popular area, so I think it's a good place. But also, the farther you go out, the cheaper it's going to get. The most important thing to take into consideration is to be near a train station, because if you're not, you're going to spend so much time walking and just wasting your day. So that is really the most important thing, is to be near a train station, because pretty much, everywhere I feel is pretty safe. From Karen, can you use the Welcome Suica card in Kyoto and Osaka? Yes, because the Welcome Suica is an actual Suica card, it's just only valid for 28 days. It is considered one of the 10 interoperable IC cards that you can use across Japan, except in Kumamoto. So yes, it will work in Kyoto and Osaka.
I just added a link to the Where to Stay in Tokyo video into the chat box for the person asking about where to stay. Hi KENSHOQUEST, I'm not sure how true this information is, but I heard some onsen are banning tourists.
We wouldn't be surprised if that is the case.
It could be. The thing when visiting Japan is to be as respectful and courteous of the culture as possible. And they don't want people who are being rowdy and disruptive or not following the rules. Like onsen have specific rules where you're supposed to shower before you get into the onsen bath. You're not supposed to wear a swimsuit into the onsen. And maybe a lot of foreigners either intentionally or accidentally are not following the rules. I know there is one onsen town that they're banning day visitors too. So they only want people who are going to come and spend the night in the accommodations there instead of people coming in just for the day and leaving. Do you remember which?
Yamagata.
Yamagata.
Yeah. But you know what? I wouldn't worry about this. There's plenty of onsens all over the place. So
just try to be respectful of following the
Yeah.
rules. And there are some that do not allow tattoos. So you would either need to cover up the tattoo or they may not allow it all if you have tattoo.
But in general, I don't think you'll have a problem finding an onsen.
And then also if you have tattoos, you might be able to book your own private onsen.
From Ian, difference between Team Border and Team Lab, maybe planets, because we don't want the one with the water underneath. Okay, so don't go to Team Lab Planets. You want to go to Team Lab Borderless. Team Lab Planets has a lot of water. But that doesn't say that Team Lab Borderless may not add it. So however, take this into consideration, is that regardless whether or not they have water or not, they tell you ahead of time and you can skip the section if you don't want to go.
You can avoid certain sections. Like I had a young toddler with me when we first visited, and there was a part you were supposed to crawl through, and we couldn't do that, so we just bypassed and went around it.
So same with planets. And same with the water one at planets. You can skip the water if you want to as well. So you're not forced to do any of the sections.
And the whole format of borderless idea is that you can wander from room to room freely on your own. There's not a set path that you have to follow, and so you can just choose which rooms you want to be in. Some of them have like smells, which may irritate some people, so you can leave and go to a different section in borderless. And you can go back and forth, and then the rooms even change if you visit the same room later. Shopping for souvenirs. Should we purchase a check-in luggage in Tokyo and check it in? Don't want to lug a checked on our way there. So there's lots of different ways to deal with how to bring souvenirs back. One thing I really like is to bring maybe a really lightweight, foldable, like carry-on size duffel bag. So perhaps on the way to Japan, if you're bringing like a carry-on suitcase on the airplane with you, maybe on the way home, you could check that suitcase and then just carry something like a fold-out duffel bag or weekender with you onto the airplane with your souvenirs in it. You could also purchase a suitcase if you want. We've purchased them at Costco, at Sanrio Giftgate, at Don Quixote. They're not super cheap. I was surprised. Even Don Quixote ran maybe around US $100 for a small suitcase. There's a secondhand suitcase store too.
If you're a cheapskate like me, you just go to Yamato Transport and buy the thickest cardboard box that they have and stuff that, and it works wonderfully.
Yes, you can check in a cardboard box
Yes.
for return luggage. So there's lots of different options. You know, what some people are doing too is packing all of their stuff into a carry-on size suitcase and then nesting that inside a medium or large suitcase and then checking that in. I mean, I personally wouldn't want to have to lug an extra suitcase around. That's why I prefer something like a foldable bag. And they sell tons of fold-out bags in Japan too, if you go somewhere like Don Quixote, if you want to buy that. Which tour to Mount Fuji is best for 3 adults? We're going to a Klook tour, smaller 9-person. We're going to do a Klook tour on a smaller 9-person van. We have not actually tried any of the Mount Fuji tours yet, so I'm planning to try one really soon here. If you want to give me more information about which ones you're considering, I can look into it more. But it sounds like that's more of a private one in a van. There's also a lot of bus tours. Yeah, right now I can't recommend one, but I'm going to try some out so that I will be able to recommend.
We are skipping some of the questions on here. As mentioned before, we'll try to get to them later, especially if we don't have a good answer for you right now.
Also, if we don't answer during the live, you can also ask a question directly on one of our videos. That's the best way to get a response from us, is to comment on a video.
Right. From Blake, yesterday I bought my Kyoto to Osaka Shinkansen, but couldn't print it, and arriving to Osaka, I had to go directly to the police to let me go out Osaka station. I did something wrong?
First, we need to know where you bought it, and there have been updates. For example, if you bought through Klook, they've updated some routes to a QR code system. So it might have been that you were supposed to just scan a QR code at the gate instead of getting an actual paper ticket.
Yeah, we need more information on this, but I'm sure, you know, there's definitely a reason behind this, because a lot of times things just don't work right. And if you're going in from one system to another, then it may not work as well. So if you want to give us more information, we can help you figure out this offline.
It depends how you purchased your ticket. There's a lot of different versions these days. There's paper Shinkansen tickets. There's also QR code tickets where you don't need to print your ticket out.
From Vash 2899, heading out in mid-March for a week, and we want to visit Disney, Universal, and Legoland while in Japan. Would you recommend staying both in Tokyo and Osaka, Kyoto?
Well, definitely for the part when you're visiting Universal Studios Japan, I would stay at least a night or maybe two in Osaka. Then Disney's in Tokyo. Is Legoland also in Osaka?
Yeah, Legoland is nearby Universal, though it's on a different peninsula, but close by, yes.
So I'd always stay at least a night. To me, it would be too hard to take a 2-hour Shinkansen, then try to get in line super early for amusement park, and then have to take 2 hours back. So I would stay a couple nights in Osaka as well. Next time we go, we're going to stay right on the Universal City Walk, so we're really close to the park, so we can get there first thing in the morning.
So from Ram, which hotel do you recommend when visiting Universal Studios Japan? So on the top of our list is the
Park Hotel
Park
would be
Hotel.
really nice. So if budget is not an issue, that looks like the nicest. But we're actually going to stay at the Keihan?
Yeah, we're going to stay at the Keihan, which is next door, and it was half the price of staying at the Park Hotel. We still do plan to stay at the park, just not this time. We're going next month, so we can't wait. But anyways, there's like 5 hotels that are right there. And in our Expedia travel shop, we've listed our favorite ones there. And a lot of them, some of the kids stay for free. So for at least 1 or 2 kids, so that really helps out.
Under a certain age.
Yeah, under a certain age. So again, we'll link that below. Why don't we go ahead and answer a couple of super chats on there.
How to do that?
So
from there? You want to just pull some of those up?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for these super chats. From Brad, left a super chat. We plan to have only carry-on luggage. Where can you do laundry? I've been meaning to release my video on doing laundry in Japan, but it depends what type of accommodation you're staying in. So many hotels have a laundry room that's often coin operated. You can check when you're booking your hotel if they have a laundry room. If they don't, then you can search for a coin laundry, which is what I call a laundromat. Those are all over the place.
Everywhere. Yeah.
So those either accept payment by coins, or some accept payment by Suica or other IC card. And then if you stay in a vacation rental, such as an Airbnb, then we always choose one that has a washing machine. Also, there are some hotel rooms. Do
yes,
you remember the chain?
In particular, the Tokyu chain, Tokyu, not Tokyo, but Tokyu with a U at the end. That chain of hotels, they offer rooms that have laundry facilities, washing machine
in your actual hotel room. So I was thinking that type of hotel would be really nice to put like 1 week into your trip. So if you wear 1 week's worth of clothes, and then you have a hotel room with a washing machine to wash your clothes and last you another week. But there's no shortage of coin laundries, or most hotels have laundry room as well.
Yeah, and if you can't find one, just ask the hotel staff. They can point you to the nearest one, I'm sure. Okay, Travelers for Chibi. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, I am torn between spending most of our time in the Tohoku region or Kyushu on our next visit. Which would you pick, considering we will go in October?
Oh, fall leaves.
Yes.
So Tohoku would probably be pretty with the fall leaves.
Yeah.
I'm not as familiar with Kyushu just because we haven't been in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've been in Kyushu. But we really love the Tohoku region for a number of reasons. First of all, there's hardly any tourists there. So, and it's just so beautiful because it's mostly mountainous. And, you know, there's just so many different places you can go. And there's a lot of really good passes that you can use in the Tohoku region as well, you know. And so one thing we've been trying to do is do the Resort Shirakami area, which is up the coast of Akita. And they have the Shiratami Cedar Park out there, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And they also have this beautiful pond out there as well that, you know, a lot of people want to go to. That's similar to the Blue Pond that you may have heard of in Hokkaido. So yeah, there's a lot to do, and I can imagine that in the fall time is just going to be absolutely just stunning, the whole region.
October might be a little bit early for the fall leaves, but it's probably still nice.
Regardless, it's just a stunning place. Yeah, we love the
Tohoku region. More of Kyushu soon, just because we don't have a lot of content on that right now since it's been years since we went there.
Okay, this next one is from Sidansky. Sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, but thank you for the super chat. Oh, well,
just your family.
From Gail. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. From Natalie.
Is there an equivalent in Japan to TSA pre-check in the US? Also, which tour group on Klook is best?
So Japan is working on their own version of that. It is the implementation is slow, and we don't know if and when it's actually going to happen, but currently they do not.
What they do have at immigration is priority line. So if anybody's in a wheelchair or on crutches or has baby, young kids, they'll often funnel you off at immigration to a much faster priority lane. I'll get back to you on the Mount Fuji tour part.
Yes, regarding the Fuji thing, let us know what type of tours you guys are interested in, because we've done a lot of different things in the Fuji area, but you know, we want to know more from you so we can make the correct content and give you guys the information that you need.
We've done independent travel there, so we've yet to do the tours. So.
And this one was from Half Dome. Thank you so much. I think we answered some of your questions earlier. So thank you so much for the super chat.
I think you can go back to
there was just a new one here. Let me just do one right here quick as well. And from Jim, how hard is it to get medicines that are on the restricted list cleared with the government? I have meds that I take that I need to take with me. So regarding the meds, this is something that we don't feel comfortable answering because we don't want to get it wrong. However, we will list some in the description below, Jim, where you can go and contact the Japanese government directly. They have an email address where you can ask them specifically about your medications, which ones that can be taken. But the one thing that we know for sure is that you want to make sure that your medicines are in their original packaging and that you carry your prescription with you. So, you know, this is just more of a precaution. We just don't want anybody to get in trouble and things like that. So please email them. And that, again, all that information is in the description below. Do you have anything else to add on that?
No.
That's okay.
Yeah, we don't want to give incorrect advice. So it's best to go directly to the source.
That's the last thing we want to do is give you guys bad advice.
Okay, we're trying to find our place here on all the questions. We didn't do that Eastern one. Oh my gosh. Okay. There's a lot of questions here for us to filter through.
Okay. We'll just start with this one.
Okay, how early would you recommend booking Shinkansen tickets, especially if you might need a bigger luggage space? So if you might need that oversized luggage compartment or area, then I would say book your Shinkansen tickets a month in advance. I know sometimes people were booking on Klook and selecting that they would like the oversized baggage, but by the time the 30-day window came around and Klook actually tried to purchase the tickets from JR, there were no more available. So, you know, if you want to do it more directly through something like SmartEX or I would do at least a month in advance if you're trying to get the oversized luggage. But really, we would say just don't bring oversized luggage onto Shinkansen. The luggage forwarding services in Japan are so excellent that you can just forward your luggage before you get onto the Shinkansen, or just pack lighter.
Yeah, because I have a feeling that more and more people are bringing oversized luggage, that what Japan has considered enough space is now not enough space that they have designated for this. So I think there's a high chance that you may not even get it now. So one thing you can do also is, I have also a feeling that some people's luggage is actually not oversized. So please measure it and see if it actually is length plus width plus depth over 160 centimeters.
Yeah, I think everybody thinks they need the oversized luggage, and because of that, it's filling up really fast.
Okay.
Is it feasible to tour Hiroshima for a day trip coming from Kyoto? Yeah, I think
Yes,
you answered
yes. Yeah, we already answered this question. It's totally feasible. Just make sure you get an early start. I'm not understanding that question. Let's see here. Mary Pat. If I get an eSIM for my US iPhone for my Osaka trip, will I be able to call and text using my US number without extra fee? No, you will not. If you want to use your US number, then you are going to have to make your US number active in Japan. So in that case, please contact your local home carrier to see what they can do to make that active for Japan.
an international plan. So
Yeah.
if you use AT&T, T-Mobile, whichever one you use, contact them about that.
Right.
All the eSIM is going to do is give you data internet access on your phone. It's not going to allow SMS text messages. It's not going to allow phone calls. You can make phone calls through an app if you have something like WhatsApp, Line, FaceTime, Facebook Messenger, anything that just needs internet that will work with an eSIM. But if you want to make actual phone calls, actual text messages, then you should just get an international plan. Would you all say
AJ.
Japan is vegetarian friendly?
I don't eat egg or fish, so a more strict vegetarian.
We've been getting this question a lot, and one thing you can look for is Buddhist food. Those will be like vegetarian.
Yes. So near like monasteries and stuff like that, they have like Buddhist restaurants, and that will be 100% vegetarian. We are starting to see more and more restaurants that have vegetarian meals only, that are really vegetarian. And there's always, what we're seeing also more commonly in the chain restaurants is that they will have a section for vegetarian meals too. So you may not see it so much in the traditional restaurants, but if you look at the chains, unfortunately, they're doing a better job of making sure that there's first allergy-friendly meals and vegetarian meals.
And you might want to print out some cards before you come that in Japanese say, I don't eat eggs, I don't eat fish. So if you go to a restaurant, you can show them that written in Japanese, so then they'll know, especially if you have any food allergies, it's a good idea to have that written out in Japanese.
From Holly, what is the best way to get from Narita to Haneda Airport? I'm flying into Narita and have a domestic flight the next morning from Haneda. I'll be staying in a hotel near Haneda the first night from Narita. So you're trying to get to Haneda Airport from Narita. If you're not in a rush, there's multiple forms of transportations which you can get to in that day. We have some videos on that will be linked below that can show you how to get there. The easiest way would be to just take a bus. You can take a limousine, airport limousine bus directly from Narita Airport to Haneda. From Nicholas, hi, my itinerary is 5 days in Osaka and 6 days in Tokyo, including Disneyland and Mount Fuji. We are planning to do day trips to Kyoto and Kobe while still in Osaka. What pass would you recommend for this? Probably none.
It's like a Kansai.
Yes, so you can
pass.
look at the Kansai area pass and see if it will cover the places you want to go. But the important thing with the Kansai area pass is you need to use it. If you don't use it to go to the places, then you won't get your money's worth. As far as getting to Tokyo from the Osaka area, just purchase individual Shinkansen tickets. From Claire, which would you choose, Shibuya Sky or Tokyo Tower? I'm hoping to just one, but aren't sure which is better. So we personally have not done the Shibuya Sky yet. It's been on our list, but we keep cutting it off.
I'm afraid of heights.
I've been to the Tokyo Tower, and I really like it because it's old-fashioned. You know, it's not your typical thing where you're going to find hordes and hordes of Instagrammers up there trying to get their photo. So because of that, you might want to do the Tokyo Tower, and it will be more easier to access it as well.
Shibuya Sky is currently like the most popular one.
Yeah, so it's going to be crowded, really crowded.
Especially in the evening time. We're a large group traveling to Japan in April. We'll cover Tokyo, Mount Fuji, Osaka, Kyoto, Nara, Hiroshima, Miyajima as day trips. We think we need a JR pass. If you're going all the way down to Hiroshima...
If you're coming back to Tokyo, then a JR pass could be an option for you.
But mostly if you will be doing all that within a 7-day span. So if you would leave Tokyo and head to Osaka, go down to Hiroshima and get back to Tokyo all within the 7 days. Otherwise, if you're looking at a 14-day pass, it already might not be worth getting the
you need to look and
pass.
see where you're going to stop. If you are going to be doing a lot of stops in between, so for instance, if you're also going to stop in Himeji and possibly Nagoya, then a 14-day may start to look good again. Otherwise, you need to look at the convenience because the cost won't be enough. So the JR Pass is super convenient. And you know, because you can ride on almost anything. However, it does not take you to Mount Fuji. The closest it will take you to is to Odawara Station, and from Odawara Station you'd have to take different public transports to get to the Hakone and Five Lakes area. But other than that, there's probably, yeah.
We do have a video on how to calculate whether or not the whole Japan Rail Pass is worth it.
Regional pass might also be option for you too. If you're going to be spending a good time of area, let's say 5 days or more in the Kansai region.
So Osaka, Kyoto, Nara, Hiroshima.
There is one called the Kansai Area Hiroshima Pass. Kansai Area Hiroshima Pass. That might work for your time when you are in the Kansai region and go to Hiroshima, Miyajima. And then when you want to go to Tokyo, then just buy an individual Shinkansen ticket. That might work well if you're going to be more than 7 days. That's probably your better bet.
I think we included that in the regional pass video.
Yes.
We have a recent video on regional passes. Traveling last week of April, first week of May. I've heard it's busy time to travel called Golden Week. Any tips for traveling that time? Any special holidays, festivals to be aware of? It is going to be crowded. Trains are going to be booked. So if you're traveling during Golden Week, as soon as you hit the 1-month window, please reserve any Shinkansen train tickets. Be aware that hotel prices may be a lot more expensive that time of year. Hotels may be more booked. Just plan everything as much in advance as you can.
It will be busy. That is the busiest time of year, is Golden Week, because there's 2 kids' holidays in there as well as a couple others. So it basically takes up an entire week. And so a lot of Japanese are on holiday. And it's crowded. But it's a fun time to be. Hello, my itinerary is Tokyo 3 nights, Matsumoto 1, Takayama 2, Kanazawa 4, Tokyo 4.
Kyoto.
Oh, Kyoto 4. Wow, amazing trip. And so for your, it is, well, wow.
It's a lot of nights.
It's a lot of nights.
The whole Japan Rail Pass is offered as 7-day, 14-day, and 21-day. And the price doesn't go up as much if you're going from a 7 to 14 to 21. So with this type of itinerary...
21-day. You would need a 21-day to cover that. It might be worth it. So 21-day is 100,000 yen.
But once you're in the Tokyo area, those 8 nights in Tokyo with like the Kamakura, Hakone, you don't need to have something like the JR Pass at that point. Odakyu Railway offers a lot of good passes for going places like Hakone, the Hakone Free Pass, and then they also have a Kamakura Pass as well. So you would only need something like a JR Pass on the days that you're traveling a long distance, not when you're staying put in Tokyo.
So I recommend looking and seeing if you can do most of your main travel between 7 days. If you can, then absolutely the 7-day JR pass is worth it. But even the 14-day might be worth it for your trip since you're stopping at so many places. Now, I'm just trying to see if there's anything in here that it wouldn't include.
Also, you don't need to activate it right away. So you can spend a couple days in Tokyo. Only the day that you're about to leave Tokyo would you activate and start using a JR pass.
Right. So yes, yeah. Look in the 14 or 7-day. You don't need the 21 because your last 8 nights are going to be in Tokyo. You'll save a lot of money that way.
JR pass is really only useful for the days that you're going to ride a Shinkansen. Well, because the Shinkansen trains cost so much more than local trains cost.
Our hotels in Shinjuku, Kabukicho, really bad if traveling with young kids. We won't be out late night, but might come back late if we do this. No, it'll be perfectly fine.
Even in Kabukicho?
Yeah, there's a lot of new hotels in the area as well, and especially in the daytime. I mean, Shinjuku is a perfectly safe place. Even at night, it is. It just gets a little seedy at night, I would say. But you know, I personally have never felt, you know, in danger or anything like that. But I personally would not take my kids out at night there. But during the daytime, like you said, you're not going to be out late. It'll be perfectly fine. From Mike, hello. What is the longest time you can use to store luggage for? So that's a great question. It depends on the different type of service you use. In general, for instance, if you use Yamato Transport, the maximum is 7 days that they will store it. However, if you contact them and ask them nicely, they might keep it a little bit longer. If you want to store for a longer period of time, it depends on where you are. So in Tokyo, at Tokyo Station, they have several places that will store your luggage up to 30 days. And we have used the services. In particular, there's one called Gransta. So we have a video that goes into detail on this. We will link it below of where you can store your luggage in different places. And also there's one called Expo Cloak. There's an app called Expo Cloak. Again, we'll link it below, where basically it's like a community storage place where there's places like cafes and things like that that'll store your luggage for, you know, up to 30 days as well. So there's a lot of different options now available for storing your luggage for long term. Is it a good idea to go to Hokkaido in April 4? I don't know anything significant about April 4. Does that ring a bell for you for anything? But you know, we love Hokkaido any time of the year. It's such a beautiful place during the wintertime and in the summertime, spring. It's a beautiful place. So I don't think you can go wrong. Where in particular are you planning to go? I guess would be my question to you. But regardless, it's a beautiful, beautiful place and not so heavily touristed.
I just put the link to our video about luggage storage in Japan into the chat box.
From Ray, just joined. I plan to use the bullet train to travel cities. Should I use third-party agencies like Klook to get the tickets, or should I get through the official JR Pass? So the official JR Pass site is only for purchasing the whole Japan Rail Pass only. So if you're looking to do that, then I do recommend that you purchase it directly from the official site. If you are looking to purchase individual Shinkansen tickets to get from point A to point B, such as from Tokyo to Kyoto, then you can use third-party sites. We do recommend Klook because it is a really easy system to use. There is another system called SmartEX.
SmartEX is more direct from the source if you purchase that way.
Yes. However, it only works going from Tokyo on south and west towards all the way down to Fukuoka. It doesn't work in the northern regions of Japan.
The benefit of doing it direct through SmartEX is you can choose your exact seat number, so seat 3A, when you're booking it, whereas in Klook, if you choose a reserved seat, they will assign you that reserved seat. So if you want to really choose the more specific details, then you can go more direct through SmartEX or a JR website.
Yes, and in some cases, you can book directly through the JR websites as well. It's just that they're a little clunky, and so that's why sometimes the third parties are better. But SmartEX is an official site.
And you can book through a JR ticket office as well. Or a ticket machine. It might be a little bit more complicated if it's your first time trying to do it through a machine.
From Kevin, I arrive to Narita at 8 p.m. If I use a luggage service, would I be able to receive my luggage the following day? If you are in the Tokyo area, I say very high chance.
Unless it's already closed at 8 p.m.
I think it'll be open. I think I'm pretty sure the luggage services will be open at 8 p.m.
Just be aware of the hours of operation. Sometimes things at the airport are not open for as many hours as you would hope they are. We are staying in Yokohama, bit nervous. I should have stayed in Tokyo. Is the commute easy, safe at night, to from taxi or train better? It's fine. It's relatively quick to take the, well, I guess it depends which train you take. You can take a local train or even a Shinkansen between Yokohama and Tokyo. We really love the Yokohama area. It's really nice to walk around in. It's a beautiful area. So I wouldn't be worried about taking the train back to Yokohama. Traveling with my young daughter to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto the first week of April. Is it fine to do all of the traditional touristy stuff, or is that time of year so busy we should try less known places? April is busy. I get confused when Golden Week.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. You know, just it will be crowded, but you should still be able to do all the traditional touristy stuff. If there's something in particular, you know, that these are difficult questions for us to answer without knowing what you want to do, because there's just so many different types of things that you can do in Japan.
Just try not to plan too much for one day, because when sites are crowded, it can take longer.
Everything takes longer.
And so just try not to have a super jam-packed schedule, especially with young kids. Doing just a couple things in a day plus one meal out tends to work for us instead of trying to do too many things at once.
Go ahead and answer this. Super chat here. From Nicholas, we booked a room with 2 twin beds, an extra bed. We have 2 kids. Will they charge extra for a 3rd or 4th person in the room? Is it true most hotels in Japan charge per person and not per room? So this depends on the hotel. This is kind of, yeah, it can get complicated with that. So what I like to do is I like to look and see, depending on your age of your kids, a lot of places will let your kids stay for free if they're under 5 or 6, and sometimes even up to 11. So look at that, look at the fine print on that. And then you'll know ahead of time whether or not you'll be charged extra for that. We have a lot of the hotels that we've listed in our Expedia shop, many of them cover this. So you can use that as a starting point to help you find out, to find the rooms. But what we usually do is, we always just look for the ones where at least our youngest is free. So, we're usually only paying for four people.
And Japan is pretty strict with the rules. So if you booked a room for a certain number of people and you show up to check in with more people, that could be an issue, that they might require you to book an additional room. So when you're doing your booking, you should put the accurate number of people who will be staying in the room.
Okay, I'm just kind of jumping around here now because we're on now for an hour and a half, so we're just going to answer a few more here.
Just in case I miss any, can you please let me know what IC cards produced in Hokkaido and Tohoku regions besides Kitaka, Sakuga? We really only need one IC card, so if you enter Hokkaido and you get the Kitaka, you can use that throughout the areas that accept the 10 major IC cards. Or if you enter in Tokyo, you can get the Suica, and you can use that also up in Hokkaido. So you don't need a separate IC card for each separate region.
Yeah. In fact, you can ignore all the other IC cards. Just think about, so if you're arriving in Hokkaido, then just get the Kitaka, because it will be interoperable all around Japan, except for some there's always exceptions, including Kumamoto right now. But ignore all the other ones. Kitaka is a good one if you're arriving in Hokkaido. If you can get the Suica, great, because that's also, accepted. But one's not better than the other.
And you don't need one for each separate region.
Right.
as long as it's one of those major 10.
Okay. Have you seen any meetup groups for single tourists? It would be cool to meet other travelers and do things like pub crawls and tours.
There's definitely tours like that available. Like if you look on Klook, there's different tours you can do. There are eating tours or probably even pub crawls. You can look for those type of group tours and activities to meet other people. I can respond to this one. Hi, in one of your videos, you mentioned that you got your debit card information stolen and recommend us only use credit cards. How exactly did this happen? I'm not too fond of credit cards. So I now only use the debit card in the ATM. I paid at a restaurant in Japan. I first attempted to pay by my credit card and it didn't go through. And so then I paid by my debit card. And this was a situation where I handed it to the waiter and they took my debit card and processed the payment and brought it back to me, which is the way we typically pay in the US, but is not the way you would normally pay at a restaurant in Japan. In Japan, normally once you're finished eating, you'll take your bill from the table and you'll walk up to the cash register and pay there at the cash register. So when I paid at a restaurant with my debit card number was stolen. And so I forget what that's called. I don't know. There's a certain name for that type of fraud, but I got alerted from our bank, I think, and so they had to close that debit card and then send us a couple days overnight type replacement card. So now I don't like paying at restaurants or shops with my debit card. I'll use credit card or use cash. If you don't want to use a credit card, you can pretty much anywhere will accept cash. Well, maybe some places now accept the IC card instead. But yeah, I don't recommend using your debit card at a lot of places.
From Ian, we bought tickets for the Shinkansen from Tokyo to Kyoto on the day we land in Haneda. Does our ticket include transportation to Tokyo Station? It does not. That is a single journey ticket, so it'll only go from point A to point B. So what you want to do is you want to just take the train from Haneda Airport to actually you're going to Tokyo Station. Okay, so yeah, take the train to Tokyo Station from Haneda Airport. We have a video explaining exactly how to do that. So that's already linked below.
And then you'll board the Shinkansen at Tokyo. Shinkansen trains only stop at a very limited number of stations.
But by the way, you could also board it at Shinagawa Station. Even though if you bought your ticket at Tokyo Station, Shinagawa Station is closer than Tokyo Station and less hectic, so you can do that.
Okay, can you pull that one up? So the question is, can we get by just using a normal MasterCard or Visa card instead of using Japanese cards like Suica? So for anybody new to the concept, the main purpose of Suica cards or other IC cards is to pay for local transportation. So this is things like local trains, metros, subways, buses, maybe some ferries. The purpose of these IC cards is really to pay for transportation within a city. They also now are accepted at places like convenience stores, luggage lockers, but that's just a secondary benefit of them. So there are a very, very limited number of trains within Tokyo that you can pay directly by a credit card, and some of the buses in the Mount Fuji Kawagochiko area you can also tap a credit card, but for most local transportation they'll expect you to pay for it with a Suica card or other IC card. So I do recommend you have Suica or some sort of IC card to pay for most of your trains and subways. If you try to just pay by credit card, that's not going to be widely accepted to pay for local transportation. You can also pay by cash. It's just more inconvenient to go to the ticket machine and pay in cash and get a paper ticket to ride the train.
Can you have any advice for renting a car in Japan? Planning to rent for 4 days, first week of March. First of all, I would check with your country to see what the rules are or what type of agreement they have so you can be sure that you can rent a car in Japan. And then after that, check to see if you are required to have an international driver's permit to drive in Japan. The next thing is renting a car in Japan. I would always reserve it as far in advance as you can because they tend to sell out. Or the last thing that's available is a sports car, something really expensive. And then, I lost my train of thought. That might be it. Those are the most important things there. Reserve in advance and make sure that, that you have the proper the documentation to rent the car, which usually includes the international driver credit.
Along with your driver's license.
Yes. Oh, also in Japan, keep in mind that parking can be very hard to find if you are in crowded places like Tokyo, or sometimes many hotels don't even offer parking, or they may charge you a lot
of
for
money.
it. Yeah. So keep that in mind, or you're gonna have to park in some parking lot that might be 2 or 3 blocks away. Thank you everyone for answering a lot of questions for us, so we can just keep this moving along. From Yen, hello, George and Honey, just want to ask if the Welcome Suica card is accepted by any stores, shops, restaurants inside Haneda Airport. Yes, absolutely it is.
Especially any fast food chains, places like McDonald's likely accept Suica card. Convenience stores like Lawson, 7-Eleven, those tend to accept them. Not all the restaurants will accept, but some will.
Are these ones just cut off? Does it?
If you try pulling it
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
I think the comment got cut
off.
here.
You can please ask again, or just leave and we'll try to get to it.
That was Calvin Pack. The rest of your comment or question's not there.
From Justin, I'm going to Japan in March for the first time from Tokyo Hotel to Tokyo Hotel. Luggage transfer. Do they usually get it delivered the same day? It's usually
in Tokyo, probably, as long as you have it shipped in the morning. So sometimes you might need to arrange it with your hotel the day before, and either the day before leave it downstairs in the lobby, or by a certain time in the morning if you want it to get same day within Tokyo.
Yeah, we can't guarantee this, because usually they say next day or even 2 days, but in our experience, it's usually really fast.
They never want to guarantee something and then it doesn't show up on time, so they would rather tell you it's going to take 2 days and have it get there in 1. They don't want to tell you it's going to take 1 day and risk it being late.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right.
It usually gets there faster than what they say.
But I would expect the next day to be on the safe side.
We always just pack accordingly. You can have a carry-on bag or a backpack that has stuff to get you by for at least 1 night, and then whichever luggage you're shipping or forwarding, have it be stuff that you don't need immediately.
Great content, guys. We're traveling to Haneda on the 29th of January and on to Okinawa. What's the best pocket Wi-Fi between Japan Wireless? Japan Wireless and Sakura Mobile for a 23-day stay. I would say it's really depends on your needs. So the good thing about Japan Wireless is they come with an actual, what is that? Power bank. They come with a little to recharge it, which is really nice. So because of that, Japan Wireless is very competitive. Sakura Mobile, in my experience, has just been equally as good. So, but theirs doesn't come with a power bank. And also, so what I would do is I would just look at the prices and see what works best for you, because they're both really good from our experience.
Anybody looking for more internet Wi-Fi related ones, we have lots of videos on eSIM's pocket Wi-Fi's on our channel.
From Mario, is it worth it to stay at Hakone and Fuji Yoshida for the night?
We think it is. We enjoy it. We're more slow travelers, so we always enjoy a place more by staying a night.
Yeah.
We stayed in a nice onsen ryokan in Hakone, which was a nice experience. And there's also places in Fuji Yoshida you can stay.
So what's really nice about spending the night is in the evening time when all the day trippers are gone, it's a lot more quiet and serene. So also
in the morning, you can get an early start. Like if you want to get up to the pagoda to get a nice view of Mount Fuji early in the morning, you got up like when it's still dark to walk there. You can only do that if you're staying right there close. Yeah. So you might want to watch my video that's about the Fuji Hakone Pass. That gives an itinerary of what you could do in 3 days in the Fuji and Hakone areas.
Oh, here's Calvin's question now.
Okay. Hello, going to Japan in May for a honeymoon. Planning on staying in Tokyo for 9 days and not going to Kyoto or Osaka. Is that a bad idea? Heard 9 days is. I think that's perfectly fine. I like to have more time to really explore an area. So there's both many neighborhoods within Tokyo that you could explore, and then there's also many good day trips from Tokyo. So if you wanted to take a day trip to Mount Fuji or a day trip to Hakone, we have a video on our favorite day trips from Tokyo area. So I think breaking it up, maybe spending 6 days actually in Tokyo and 3 days doing just day trips from Tokyo, I'd be happy with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's just so many things to see and do. The last thing you want to be is rushed, especially on your honeymoon, and I think Tokyo is just, it's amazing. You could spend a month here. We've spent several months here and I've only seen this much of it.
Oh.
Hello, I'm traveling to Japan in February and March. I'm wondering, how is the temperature? Is it cold?
It's
We're
cold
here
now.
right now in January and it's cold, and it would still be cold in February. And I think March, early spring tends to be colder than a lot of people expect it to be. You're thinking flowers and spring, but then you're still wearing a puffy jacket. I have a video on the typical weather in Tokyo and what to pack and wear for each season. So that one would be a good one to watch because we go over typical Tokyo weather.
Yeah.
But it's still cool.
Right. The weather starts to fluctuate a lot in March. You could have some cold days and then all of a sudden it could be hot. So
A sunny day.
Yeah.
You might be sometimes starting the morning with a puffy jacket and then taking it off and have a t-shirt later in the day. But February is still like winter time.
Hello, going to Osaka area for 2 weeks in mid-October. Do you recommend Namba or Umeda area for day trips? Why not just stay there? I recommend staying in that area because that's where all the action is, and it's very central, and the transportation is really good from that area. So yeah, there's a lot to see and do in that area. Just walk around and get lost, I say. All right, here's one for you, Heidi.
Lots of people going to Japan in March. I'm going as well. You guys have helped me so much planning. Is there any tips on using luggage service? We have a couple videos. Sorry. We have a couple videos explaining using luggage delivery service. The most important thing is you're going to need to know the address of, say, the hotel you're trying to ship your luggage to, and the hotel's phone number. And then often if you're staying in a hotel, you can go to the front desk and ask them for help, and they might even help fill out the forms for you. If you need to actually do it yourself, like you're shipping to an Airbnb, then please watch our videos that go into more detail about Yamato transport and how to use it.
Thoughts on booking train tickets before trip or while in Japan? So for some of the train tickets, especially if you're looking at passes, some of them can only be booked while you're abroad. So take that into consideration. I would look at the pass and see if they can even be purchased in Japan. As for ones in Japan, that could be good too. That way you could like visit the tourist office or the ticket office and find out if it really matches what you're trying, to see and do.
Oh yeah, and just individual train tickets you can book while in Japan. It's just that if you're going on a really busy time of year, then you might want to book them in advance. If it's a low season, not super busy, then yeah, you can just book them once you're here. Typically, we like to book our train tickets, Shinkansen tickets, at least a day in advance, because if you wait until the day of, you might not get the time that you want. Hey guys, love your videos. We like to spend our first white Christmas in Japan, and we have 2 kids aged 13 and 11. Where would you recommend? I would highly recommend going to Hokkaido, Japan, because that is where you're going to get the most beautiful, white, fluffy snow. We're in Tokyo right now in January, and our kids keep asking every morning if it's snowing, and no, it is not snowing here in Tokyo. It did snow earlier in the winter, but if you want a beautiful white snow Christmas, then definitely Hokkaido. Already December has some snow. February is one of the best months. And we do have a video that's a Hokkaido travel guide and itinerary that talks about some of the major cities you could visit there, like Sapporo, Otaru, Asahikawa. And we have some information about also if you want to visit the snow festivals that happen in February in Hokkaido.
And if you're going to be there for
Christmas,
Christmas,
December, we've done
yeah,
that.
they have the White Illumination Festival held in Sapporo in December. So it's really nice. It's an Odori Park right in the center of town. it's just a beautiful place to be, and there's not that many tourists, so it's kind of magical. Yeah.
Yeah, we were there Christmas
Right.
one year, so
Yeah.
there was enough snow at the end of December.
And if you don't have enough snow, then you can go to Niseko, which you can take a train to from Sapporo, which will have snow for sure. So yeah, it's just a beautiful place. Absolutely, just stunning.
We made a video on fun winter things to do in Sapporo in winter that has a lot of the child-friendly things like sledding and snow tubing, and they have a lot of parks that are really fun and a lot of even free outdoor snow-related activities you can do. We're pushing close to 2 hours here, so we might just answer a couple more questions during the live, and any other ones we'll try to answer later after the video processes in the comments. Okay.
Aloha.
Do you know if loading a digital Suica card on the iPhone is considered a cash advance transaction or just a regular credit card charge? Don't want to get charged. I would contact your credit card and find out. We were hesitant to use one of our cards because they had told us it would be treated as a cash advance. Now I have an Apple card, which is a MasterCard, linked to my iPhone, and it doesn't count it as a cash advance. It's just like a regular charge. So in the past, a lot of Visa cards would not even function and work with the digital Suica. I've heard that's changing, so if you have a Visa, you might try it again, but definitely contact your credit card directly to figure out how they will treat topping up an IC card.
That's the only way you're going to know. That's why we switched to using the Apple card, because it doesn't charge. So we recommend that as well as an option. From Richard, if taking a train from Haneda, how hard is or easy is it to take a taxi from the train station to your hotel? Very easy. Almost every train station will have a taxi queue right outside in the front. So once you exit the station, look for the sign that says taxi and just go out right there, and there should be taxi waiting for there, or if not, just wait in the queue. From John, is Uber commonly available in Kyoto and Tokyo? So in Tokyo, it is starting to be more common. In fact, when we arrived the other day, there were billboards everywhere for it. However, once you start going on the outskirts, it is not readily available at all. And in Kyoto, I don't know at all right now if it is even available.
We haven't been there recently.
Yes.
And when you use Uber, it's more like for calling a taxi. It's not really a ride-share service. We mostly use the app called Go Taxi, which is another way that you can schedule to get a taxi. Yeah. But also there's so many taxi queues that if you can just find a taxi queue and line up, that's also convenient. It's not like it's going to really cost more. Right.
Or you can just flag a taxi down too quite easily, especially in all the cities. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Yeah, you're not going to have a problem getting a taxi. Holly, I'm landing at 3:30 p.m. Is it feasible to take a 6 p.m. Nozomi from Shinagawa? I would book a later train. You're going to be cutting it very close. Yeah, I mean, if you have done this before, then you might be able to do it. But if you haven't, then I would just move it back an hour just to be safe. Because, you know, the Nozomi is so fast anyways, it's going to get to Kyoto and Osaka in 2 hours anyways. So I would just push it back just to be on the safe side. Oh, but if you're traveling unreserved, then it doesn't matter. If you miss it, you can hop on the next one that comes by.
If you go on the non-reserved.
If you're traveling non-reserved, yeah, you can just hop on the next one.
That's actually my advice. If you want to do some kind of connection like that, is just get what's called a non-reserved or unreserved Shinkansen ticket, and then you just have to ride in one of the non-reserved cars where it's first come, first serve. But that way you don't have to worry about a specific time train, because you can basically ride any train that day.
From Ray, hello, I plan to travel in February. I heard that it's going to be cold, probably snow. I live in Florida and have never seen snow. What clothes should I wear for a week travel? This is a good question for Heidi, but it is going to be cold, especially if you are going to Zao. Yeah, it's going to be cold there. In Tokyo, it won't be as cold, so you're going to need a jacket. There might be some snow in the area, but not a lot, though this year has been a little unusual with tons of snow. And in fact, it's snowing in Kyoto today.
I I recommend watching our video that's Japan Winter Essentials Packing List. So I go over what type of clothes to pack for the winter if you're somewhere like Tokyo or Osaka, and then also what to add if you're going to one of the more snowier parts of Japan. So I'll drop a link to that, the winter packing video, into the chat box.
Okay, we're just going to answer a couple more questions here just because our kids are have about had enough of this. Okay, this one is from Nopi. If traveling with a senior with luggage from the airport into Tokyo, would you suggest private transportation, or would luggage service and public transportation be okay? We are from New York City. Okay, if your senior is in a wheelchair, then the train stations in Japan are fantastic for that. You would approach the gate and they will help you with that. However, I do recommend either if you do that you do use a luggage service. It works really well too. But definitely the most comfortable for you will be a private transport. No doubt it's going to make it so easy for you, especially if this is your first time coming to Japan. I highly recommend the private transport. In fact, we've already mentioned before, but as a family of 5 with 3 little kids, that is how we do it now, is just private transport, just because it just makes it so much easier for us.
And if you watch either his videos about how to get from Narita or Haneda into Tokyo, I think you included links to that?
Yes. Yes. Okay, just a couple more we're going to answer here. Hello, is there a pass we may need if we are flying into Osaka, staying 4 days with traveling to Kyoto for 2 nights separately, then going to Tokyo for 8 days? Probably not.
You probably don't need to get one. I would just, use an IC card, so ICOCA card you can get in the Osaka area to travel around, and then just an individual Shinkansen ticket to get you up to Tokyo.
From John, do you recommend Shinkansen reservations to Kyoto first week of April? Does Shinkansen book up during this time? So it depends on where you're going from Kyoto. If you're going from Tokyo to Kyoto, that is the most crowded route in all of Japan. However, on that route, there's over 300 trains per day. So it's still better to make a reservation if you want to be safe, but you will be able to get on a train.
Some of the most busy times of year, they make it reservation only for the Tokaido Shinkansen.
4 adults from Montreal to Japan. Plan is March 31st. Narita to Tokyo. And then to Hakone. Hakone to Kyoto. Kyoto to Osaka. To Kawasaki and back. How many days is that?
I don't know that I would necessarily recommend an air pass for that either. So what's typically called the golden route, like going Tokyo down to Osaka, Kyoto, and back, is not really worth getting the whole Japan Rail Pass anymore after the price increase. But that does have where?
Kawasaki, which is
that?
Well, that's right next to Yokohama. So yeah, no pass is going to work well for you, unfortunately. For this route, you're better off just purchasing individual tickets on that. Okay, I'm just going to answer 2 more questions here, and then that's going to be it.
Again, you can always ask questions on our videos on our channel, or a few hours from now when the live's processed, we'll try to answer some questions down in the comment section as well.
Aloha, was the Costco Citibank Visa Anywhere credit? Was that the Costco Citibank? Regardless, it doesn't matter if it's Costco Citibank or not, but there is Costco here that you can use your use it at. I'm not sure I'm understanding the question.
Sorry, I don't understand the question either.
But Visa in general is, you're answering somebody else. Sorry. All right, this is going to be the last one that we're going to answer for today.
Going to Japan in May for a honeymoon, staying 9 days in Tokyo only.
Oh wait, we already answered this question.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, we addressed that.
We'll
that
answer one more
fine.
here. And I think there was one more super chat that we will answer as well. Did anyone have issues reloading the child Pasmo IC card? We kept having to go to the counter to reload.
You should be able to load it at a charging machine using cash, but I don't know what the issue may have been.
Yeah, if you want to explain your issue with us, we might be able to help you with that, but we personally have not had any issues with that.
We usually go to a machine that says charge. It might have like a pink label on it, and then you can use cash to recharge those cards.
Okay, we got another super chat from Jim. Does the app like Go or Uber use English for the destinations, eatery shops, and the likes? So the Uber app is just going to be the same as in wherever you're works for you in your home country. The Go app is in English. It has an English version of the app. As far as eateries and shops, for destinations, when you do a search for it, they do show up in English. A lot of the stuff is in Japanese, but there's plenty enough English in the app that you can look for things that you want to get to. I hope that answers your question. All right, I know that we still got a ton of questions here, but I'm sorry, we're going to have to cut this. We will do our best to go through these and answer more questions in the chat, so you can come back and view these later.
Please do take a please do take a look at the videos that we already have on our KENSHOQUEST channel. We have a lot of them about getting from the airports, about shipping luggage, storing luggage, what to pack, packing lists for different seasons like summer, winter, so where to stay. If we didn't address your question, you might be able to find a video on our channel that has the answer.
And continue to let us know in the comments below, what are your main pain points, issues that you're having with your, planning your trips to Japan, and let us know how we can help you guys out.
Okay, thank you all for joining us live here. And please subscribe and turn on notifications for KENSHOQUEST.
And let us know if you would want to have another live like this in the near future.
We do aim for once a month, but we haven't been so good about that. We'd like to.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.